All right. Welcome to my 26th live stream. I'm Joshua Kemble. I'm an artist who's been a freelance illustrator for 15 plus years and graphic designer professionally. Been an art director full time for about 6 of those years. And when I'm not art directing and doing graphic design and illustration, I am working as a cartoonist on things like my graphic novel, my autobiographical graphic novel, Two Stories, which is a confessional graphic memoir that grapples with questions of faith, mental illness, depravity, and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. So that's this book. You can buy the first two stories, book one, on Amazon, Book Depository, Comixology, pretty much wherever books are sold. But I would definitely recommend ordering it through Amazon. That's how you can help me the best, because it helps the ranking. And most booksellers look to that for like books to order and stuff. You can also ask your local comic shop or indie bookshop to carry it. So that is my plugs out of the way. And what I am working on during these streams is book two, which is going to be the completed story. So Two Stories kind of starts it out. And then this continues where Two Stories book one leaves off and will be the finale. And what's cool is I'm working on thumbnails and roughs, but I've finally gotten to chapter 10. And chapter 10 is the second to last chapter. So we're getting there. So right now I'm thumbnailing and working on roughs, which is like a very rough idea of what the final will look like for page 99. So we've almost made it to page 100. I'm also doing the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge, which is the challenge where you spend 30 minutes a day minimum working on your own personal comic project. And this is day, let's see, 49, sorry, day 49 of the 100 Days of Making Comics. So pretty excited. We're almost halfway through there, and we're almost done. We're on the end point of these rough thumbnails. So earlier today I did Art Casters with Scott Cirkland, and you can check that out on Scott Cirkland's channel, Cirkworks on YouTube. And we had Jeremy Burley on, who is a really cool artist who does a story about basically the fall of Lucifer, and done in like as a Western, which is pretty interesting. He's a really talented artist, a really charismatic, interesting dude. Also on YouTube as well. And yeah, so that was a fun conversation. However, because it was a fun conversation, I got 3 panels done. So we're starting the chapter. Like I said, usually when you start, you want an establishing shot. So we're back at the apartment that the whole thing started at. And our character, the first chapter of the second book, starts with him being drunk at a bar and then passing out in the snow. And this is continuing from there. So that's what we're working on. Frank, we meet again. How are you doing, dude? Frank's in the chats. He was watching Artcasters today as well, which is awesome. And what are you working on, Frank? Are you still working on your mini? Pretty excited to hear how that's coming along. Also, how's everything going with the power outages and stuff? It's been some crazy power outages all over the country, and I'm hoping everybody's okay. Okay, so now we're going to get into this. So this is going to be sort of reframing to our apartment sequence, and I should be able to kind of get this going. I do want to have some maybe wobble lines here. I know it's nerdy, but it's like there's things like wobble lines that are so great in comics. You don't want to get rid of them because he's kind of stumbling drunk on his way home. Okay. Catching up on penciling a horror mini comic I'm working on. 3 more pages to go before I start issue 3. Oh, Frank. Frank left a really nice review on Amazon for Two Stories Book 1. And thank you, Frank. That was cool. I saw that today. And then I even noticed that in the chats on Artcasters and was meaning to call it out. And then the conversation, we got lost in the conversation. But I wanted to say thanks. That was really cool. And all those reviews help. So if you guys have read the book and you go to Amazon and give it like a high star rating and a review, that also helps kind of get the algorithm to help other people read the story. So, all right. So here we go. Third panel. Do I want to go with the 9 panel for this? I think I do. There's going to be a few callbacks to previous bits. So I'm going to have to kind of scroll through the last book just to like pull sequences from it. So even if we're redrawing like a background, I want to make sure I'm being consistent with like how I'm presenting the apartment. Let's see here. Scrolling through. Go. Just having to find some sequences. I think we can get there. Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good news. The power's been on all day, so I'm thankful. I think everyone who was out of power has power back. That's very encouraging. Was it really cold in your area too, or let's see here. Anyhow, I'm glad you got power back. That's awesome. We've had like brownouts here in the desert, and they can be pretty tough because yeah, I mean, we're reliant on electricity. Very reliant on electricity. This might work. Okay. I think I need to pull back to the early pages. Sorry, I know this isn't the most entertaining thing to see. I'm literally trying to find apartment scenes that actually works. Huh. That'll work. So I'm just trying to think because the next sequence Okay, this isn't too bad. This really isn't too bad. All right. And I think we'll be able to get that previous page. I almost feel like maybe I should like screen share so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So I do kind of want to have a reflection of the first sequence. I think that might be good. Wait a minute. No, I'm going to have the front door, which I think I have in a sequence a little later. Grabbing assets from the previous book that I've already drawn. Just make sure I'm being consistent. I'm pretty sure there's a sequence where I like walk the dogs. Good. Interesting looking back at the previous book. Work. Did we get back to the door though? We did get back to the door. Okay. There it is. And that might actually do it. Nope. This is like the least fun. He said it's still cold. There's another warning for Friday. The mail has been on delay. Oh my gosh. My kids were going to come on Friday, but I had to reschedule. Wow. Jeez. Well, I'm just glad like you got some heat in your place. I hope maybe I don't know. I definitely think oh, that's it. That's the shot. That's the shot I want. I okay, so I already pulled this page. Okay, so I've been wasting time. Okay. Sorry. I thought I'd just clear that up that I've been wasting time. Okay. I think I need to do this. This is going to be sort of clarifying. What comes after winter? Spring? I believe it's spring, right? Yeah, spring. Okay. Let me think. Spring would be just green, right? Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. So I think what I need to do is because this is going to be a very like resolution heavy section of the book, so it's going to be pulling a lot of very interesting stuff. It's also neat because this gives you a chance to kind of see what the finished work looks like next to this really loose, rough stuff. Yeah, spring is on the way. So in the story, spring is on the way too. So that's kind of appropriate. But there's been all sorts of fun little parallels happening. The little Bible study group I have was doing a section we were doing a little study on Jonah, the story of Jonah, and a lot of this book parallels that story. So, and then the parallel becomes more and more blatant till like the end. There's a literal reference to Jonah, and it was just really cool, kind of like that we were studying it literally the same night that I drew Jonah, and it was in the script. It's like I couldn't have timed it. It was really cool. Little things like that make me feel like I'm on the right track with the book. Okay. So this is going to say, let's get into this now. 15 minutes. I need to be drawing. Okay. So this is going to be a ... I have a lot of those in this book. But I do think that's kind of the pacing of comics, is a lot of ... Then gotten my mental shit together. Spacing here. Winter storms have names. The one from Monday to Wednesday was Yuri, and now it's Viola. Huh. Yeah, I mean, storms tend to have a crazy name. I didn't know winter storms have names, but I guess that makes sense. It's got to be a learning curve. Okay, so this is going to have kind of a similar shot. We're going to see it from spring. So in this case, I want it to be a pull from the previous. So I'm literally going to pull from the previous. I also want to have, wait a sec. Hold on. I also want to have the last part of this line as best as I could. As best as I could. Voila. Okay, so we're basically going to have almost this exact shot, but without the snow. So this will be like a really, this tree is going to be a lovely tree with some growth. And then we're going to have our thing here. And it's going to have, yeah, it's so weird with storms like that, I mean, that's intense, man. Like I said, we've had brownouts here, and it's tough just for a couple of hours. Uh, you know, it always any time that happens where electric goes out, I just get super thankful for electricity because it is hard, man. It's hard to make things work without like proper utilities, you know. Um, so today's been a pretty cool day so far. I had a good day at work, working on some cool art. Um, I've been um, enjoying this process a lot of kind of creating. It's very fun to sort of have that going on, um, and to be getting this far. But I also have been like battling just exhaustion because I've been working at at this for a while, and I do think um, it's good to have. Um, it's good to have like a struggle to kind of get this out, but it is also very tiring. Okay, so this is almost frame for frame going to be the same shot where we see, you know, some of this detail going on. But during the springtime, which is hopefully going to be a little meaningful in the sense of kind of seeing the seasons. I was remaining calm, but I didn't have much food left. God showed me He had my back and sent people to feed me. I was able to get some supplies yesterday. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's just a rough situation with that. But I'm glad people helped you out and helped you get, you know, what you need. That's so important to have like community that's got your back too. Um, one of the main reasons I live where I live is like we have family nearby, and it's important. It's super important to have those contacts and support network, especially like you know with a kid. It's like um, super important to have those close knit bonds nearby. You know, because it's like it literally takes a village. Did I just misuse literally? It metaphorically takes a village. How about that? All right. Yeah, it's got to be. All right, so we got this kind of passing of time signified with like a similar shot of a building, but as it's passed through time, that I'm spending probably too much time on. um, but that's okay. We got time. My goal is to try to wrap by at the latest 2 in the morning because I'd like to get like 6 hours of sleep, maybe 5 hours ish. Like that would be nice to get 5 hours. This is very much becoming one of those fake trees, so I want to have like a few areas where it's not quite like a little ball on a stick. Let's try to have like some leaves here too. There we go. Look at that. It's all green and pretty. It's 2:22 a.m. for you. Yeah, Frank, was that pretty intense then? Like, I mean, it sounds like a pretty intense scenario. So I'm glad things are okay. Let's see. And then what were you working on? 3 more pages till you start issue 3 of your comic. That's pretty cool, man. Kind of curious, Frank, what made you interested in comics? Let's see here. Like in making them. For me, I tend to think there's something about the storytelling style of comics, the fact that there's like a visual that just spoke to me like heavily. Like I was a book nerd as a kid and I read a lot of books and stuff. But then there was something about comics that was like, it just opened a door to like this thing where like books were cool and amazing and I loved stories, but there was something about like the art and the story together that just sort of just seemed like the perfect form of writing. So kind of like it or not, I ended up being sort of stuck using comics as a way to tell stories because I just love them. And I'm drawn to telling stories. But I'm always interested in what draws people to stories, what you know, what drives them to create. Okay, so here we go. We have this pretty awesome thing coming. And some passage of time suggested poetically, hopefully, for people paying attention. Funny too, because like little touches like that, where it's like, I want to have like a similar frame, but have time pass. So it shows that it's passed from winter. That'll represent some sense of conclusion, which this is. But I wonder who all will notice. I think sometimes we put a lot of thought in our work and people don't pick up on it. But I have noticed like people are smarter than I think most writers will give them credit for. Like people pick up on subtle stuff. And I like it. Nice. Always interested in comics, didn't think it was good enough to make one. Had drawn as a kid, but left it a while. Got back to it a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a fun thing. It's a good medium. Requires a lot of time, but you know, I think it's worth the time. Worth the time to try to make these things good and try to tell really good stories. I have to say though, my mind's been wandering lately on when I am done with this autobio, what will I work on? Will it be like a fantasy novel, a historical fiction? It's like the possibilities are endless. but I'm pretty much married to this one for quite a while. Okay, so here we go. Yep. And there's going to be a few other parallels. A few other parallels that are going to be interesting. Similar shots, you know. Wait, almost forgot. It should say with a dart. Took a break from Captain Goggles comic and did a horror. I'll go back to finishing up the mini series and doing by next week. Hopefully, after I finish that mini series, you want to do some Captain Courage stories. Cool. Yeah, I'm feeling that. That sounds pretty cool. Let's see here. Kind of want to do this down here. Yep. Okay. This is going to be a similar shot of me. Wait, a little bit further away. It's going to be similar framing here. Kind of back to the old beginning almost. And then a little bit of reference to that. Okay. It's going to be a bit like almost like shot for shot. I think I should have the I've got it. I'm going to actually do I don't want it to be exactly shot for shot, but I definitely want it paralleling enough to where someone would see it. Okay, something like that. It's good. Okay, we're not doing final pages here, so I don't like that either. There we go. And this will be, maybe I'll have the costume a little different. Do like a button up shirt this time. Okay. Do, 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 do. And then there's going to be this creepy cloud as I've drawn it in the kind of past books. Sort of creeping up. My hand drawing that. Right? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I was just realizing it's pretty interesting. That just dawned on me too. Okay. I could see that, like a 30 days of making mini comics challenge. I tend to like the idea of 365 days of making comics. That's what I would like to see. That's just a thought, but I think it would be cool. I feel like, isn't that the goal, to get to 365 where it's you're working on it every day? All right, maybe that's too ambitious, but that's where I want to be. And you'll miss one or two, but I like the idea of that in theory. So then there would be, okay, there's going to be this dark cloud kind of coming here. Definitely going to have some stuff. I like the idea of like maybe one of those Western style shirts. So I'm trying to think of the time era, and that would actually make sense. There were these kind of shirts that I was wearing a lot around then. Still wear occasionally, but all right. Let's finish this up. Cool. Get that. That's all I need to do. Oh, this is like a poster. Drawing light. Table. I love it. That sounds cool though, but I don't know, Frank. What do you think about 365 days of making comics? Are you down? I'm kind of kidding. But I do like the idea. I don't know. Has anyone done that? Like as a challenge? Just straight up 365? Let's see here. All right. So let me see. Trying to think of what all I've done today. That was interesting. I honestly have had a pretty art packed day where most of what I've done today is like creating stuff. And then I had a really cool conversation with Jeremy Burley on Artcasters, where he was talking about kind of the struggle between like rushing things and getting a lot of product and versus like taking your time and making it good, sort of that balance and the struggle with that as well and the frustration with that. And I totally understood that. Oh, nice. He said that's what Anna is going for, doing the 100 days 3 times in a row. I told her to take a break. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you need to have breaks, but I mean, in theory, it should be possible, especially if it's like 30 minutes. I mean, I definitely think it should be possible. It's tough when your daily is, I'm putting in probably about 2 or 3 hours. Um, and that becomes a little hard to juggle because if you're not giving that out of your day, then you're giving that out of your night, and then you're losing sleep. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Oh, what am I doing? This is going to be a repeat of this. I believe. Yep. So this might actually be a repeat. And this is where I wish I had ruled out my panels a little better. They're not symmetrical. Symmetry police are all pissed at me. Because they're like, dude, you did not do a perfect grid. All right. That would be funny if there were actually symmetry police. I actually don't mind it, but if I'm going to go that route, I need to be a little more intentional so that it's not creating like a massive visual tangent. I actually kind of don't mind that. In theory, I actually wouldn't mind. See, now I'm getting into like weird warping panel stuff, but I actually wouldn't mind if it's more like that. And then we got a little, because I felt like this was a little squishy for an establishing shot anyway. Look at that. Yeah, that's my jam. All right, that works. Yeah, it's a hard thing to balance. I mean, I think it's important for people to get sleep and exercise, and like that's something I actually missed exercising today. So tomorrow I got to hit those weights and all that fun stuff. The 3 pounds that I lift. um, but let's see, because that's important too. Like if I don't exercise, I'm gonna burn out fast. Okay, this is going to be more of that creepiness creeping on, and this is gonna say, what is this gonna say? Every Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. This is going to be coming down here. Move it down. And I'm wondering what I should do. I think we might pull in a little bit. Actually, I don't like that it's dead center in this framing. I kind of feel like I want it to have a little more movement to it and also have like a visual line to kind of bring you back down here. That might be it. Okay. Okay. We're almost there. Hour 1 is getting close at hand. Break it up 100 days this round, 30 days next round, and go from there until I hit 365. I was just kind of kidding. I mean, but I do think that's the end goal, right? The end goal should be like, we don't need a challenge, you know? Like that's our daily challenge. That's my thought on it. But it is fun to do the hundreds. But I feel like hopefully we'll all be doing the hundreds anyway. You know, just naturally, like the habits have been built. But it doesn't hurt to have like challenges and stuff like that to kind of help out in like, and also gamify it. Like I think I mentioned that a couple days ago, but like gamifying your art, that's not a real great expression there. Hang on. Gamifying your art can be like a really good way to kind of get some stuff done. Okay, and this arm. Cool. So I think that'll work for that. And then I just need to have crazy, creepy lines that are going to be sort of creeping along, crawling up, taking over. Maybe a little bit of that. Maybe this one comes here and wraps around the arm. It's very abstract, and when I work these out on the finals, it's pretty cool. But it doesn't hurt to like kind of have like a rough idea of how you're gonna work it. It's possible I try to do something creative and productive with art daily. I've just been focusing on comics more to get some stories done. Yeah. I don't know. I enjoy working on comics and kind of it's like a love hate thing where I like it and then there's times where I very much am tired of it. But they always kind of bring me back. And I think it's partially I like the story that I'm working on. So that keeps me motivated. Seeing the fruit of like really taking time to try to make it the best you can make it, that definitely keeps me coming back. And I also want this to be more like, maybe it starts getting like abstractly, the screen starts kind of glowing a little bit more. So it actually starts getting a little darker. I like that idea. Boom. Okay. This page is getting there. We're at like the first hour mark, so I'm going to take my little 20-second break. Frank, I appreciate you hanging out. How's your are you making progress? I hope I'm keeping you company while you're working on your stuff. All right. Dark cloud, suicidal thoughts following me every step of the way. Cool. This is going to be fun for this last part. I hope. It might be kind of crazy, but okay. We'll get back to it in a second. Okay. I will be back shortly. I'm going to get a refill of my coffee and bear with me 20 seconds ish. All right. All right. Now I'm going to refill my coffee mug and then we will get going. Oh, let's see here. This is going to be like a kind of infographic type sequence that I'm going to move into here, which I'm pretty excited about. So it's going to say here, okay. And this is one of those pages where people like limit panels per page, and I might do a lot. I don't know. Since returning, you know what? Before I do that, let's make it a long bar. We'll see how long it ends up being. And this is going to reference a little bit. It's like tying a bow. Because I'm trying to bring people back to the first a little bit. So, oh. This is going to say, since returning oh, come on. I'm on the wrong layer. Always check your layers, folks. Okay. Since returning. Nice. All right, man. Get some soda. Curious what kind of soda. My great aunt growing up was from the Midwest, and so she'd always call it pop. And what's funny is I'm pretty sure, I can't vouch for this 100%, but I know like my whole family always just called every soda Coke. Like all sodas were titled Coke, which I think is funny. Okay, since returning, okay, since returning, I just think that's kind of rad that regionally in the US everybody has different names for sodas. Since returning from settled into a routine. Look at that perfect spacing. This is going to work. So I kind of want it to have like a little bit of everything that's kind of pulling you back to the earlier book, and kind of closing some themes, or kind of reminding you where all these themes were coming from. So this is going to be, well, we'll have to see. So I'm probably going to do black. And try to figure this whole bit out. Okay. Thumbnailing, not too bad, but and I'm not sure what this is going to look like space-wise, but I'm going to work it out. So let's see here. We've got thinking on the fly here. Since returning from my barberation, okay, wake up. Wake. See what that sequence looked like. Okay. Okay. Wake up. I think this will work. Okay. So nice. I got a Dr. B, a generic Dr. Pepper. That's awesome. So it's like a Mr. Pibb. We call it soda or Coke if it's a dark cola. It's pretty much I like that. It's funny, I don't drink as much soda as I used to, but I drink a crap load of coffee. So I think I make up for my lack of soda with. I definitely am doing a lot of caffeine consumption, is my point. That's way too high for a bed. And these I will definitely work out a little more, but it's not a bad place to kind of work out a rough idea. I want to pull that. I think I had that same character repeat times. Yes, that's good. Okay, so I want to have that same character again, or a rough character that looks a little bit like that. A little icon. Do 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 do. And like one of the things I love about writing and visual sequences is there's like a poetry to it, I think. And you can start finding kind of rhythms and connections. It's like those moments when you're writing a story. Like my favorite part of writing is when you're kind of lost in a sequence and you're trying to resolve a plot thread, and then like there's like this magic moment where like things just start gelling and being fluid. And one of my favorite books, the which I need to actually reread, but it's Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, which is a play off of the word the art of war or whatever. But it basically just points out like the fact that like this cool thing happens when you get in the zone and you're creating and you're sort of intentionally showing up. It's like the muse just starts showing up too. And I know some people may find that to be like hokey or whatever, but I definitely find that to be true, where it's like things just start getting very instinctive and you start finding connections and like a little bit of poetry to what you're doing. So like for me, okay. Yep. Gonna bring the pluses back too. Oh, this is gonna be good. Rough, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, wake up. What else? Feed the dogs. Have the same thing. I think that'll make sense. And this is very like cartoonish and simplified, but that's the point. Ran out of coffee, but the Dr. B was free with a coupon deal. Smart, yeah. Dude, coffee is a lovely drink. I am a fan of. Especially, well, I think it can be very unhealthy, but like if you just do it straight, it's pretty good. I think it has some possible effects though. I don't know. I always like coffee. It's one of my favorites. Okay. I gotta think. Okay, so wake up, feed the dogs. Here we go. I need to do this. This one I can actually do just a literal repeat. So that one's going to be a literal repeat of a panel from before. Merge down. Boom. And this is going to say work on client work. Oh, did I merge? What did I do here? Hold on. Let's cut that out. Better yet. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Doesn't have to be perfect. Boom. But at least that'll kind of keep it similar to the previous infographic. Where is my white layer? That's what I need to find out. Like, where am I drawing here? There it is. That's what I needed. Okay, merge down. Did that work? Okay, need to merge down one more. Boom, love it. Okay, so let's work those edges a little bit just to be a little more consistent. Got it. And we're making progress and referencing previous pages, which is good. This will say, oh, I needed that. What is this going to say? Work on client work. Work on client work. That's two works. That might be a little redundant, but I got past editing, so I'm wondering if we should have it say work on work. I think that works. And then we're going to have this same dude who I'm going to copy over. And we're going to get this moved over. It's kind of fun working on these little infographic type things. It's kind of fun to keep things real simple. Cypher's Corner was asking, "Are you alive?" Yes, I'm alive. I was just actually zoning for like 2 seconds while I was working on this. No, I was just I was kind of getting in the zone drawing this thing. So yeah, don't worry. I have not died. How are you doing, Cypher's Corner? Oh, you gotta follow me now. Please follow me, dude. Did it really look like I was just a frozen image? Here, let me try that again. Just I'll sort of try to be as quiet as possible. Maybe like move. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm working on this kind of bit. So this is a live stream where I work on my second graphic novel, which is the sequel to this book right here. Ooh, excuse me. Which is 2 stories, and it was released by Marcosia a couple months ago. And I'm working on, so that this is book 1, and then I'm working on book 2. Oh my goodness! And apparently dropping all my stuff, but I'm working on book 2 for it. So the actual like pages, like this is roughs and thumbnails, and then the final pages kind of look something like this, like a little more detailed, stuff like that. So 122 pages, and then this one I'm on page 99 of the thumbnails and roughs. So yeah, it's kind of taken a while, but so right now I'm actually, because it's like close to the end, it's chapter 10. It's pulling from like, so that's what the final art looks like, right? But it's referencing like literally, like I think it's like page 2 of the first book to kind of pull back that same sequence. So I'm kind of referencing older pages. I don't know if that makes sense, from my first book, because it's getting close to the end. So anyhow, yeah. Nice. Well, I appreciate that, Cypher's Corner. That's really cool. I'm fairly new to Twitch, so like on YouTube, I'm still like a relatively small channel, but I'm trying to do streams to Twitch because I really enjoy it, and so I appreciate it, man. It's very cool. So thank you for streaming my stream. I appreciate that. Frank's in the chats working on some comics. In the YouTube chats, actually. Be careful with those nip slips. yeah, I gotta watch for that. All right, so here we go. So I love it. All right, so we're gonna work on this next part. An actual human, oh my. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Like I enjoy streaming. It's kind of an interesting thing, and it's a good way to kind of get work done. I'm actually like super close to done with this page. Streaming is a fuck ton of fun. Yeah, I agree with that. It is. Cool. All right, so now I've got to finish. Okay, it's going to say work on client work. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be this weird infographic-y part where it's going to say send them to an editor. Okay, hang on a sec. It's going to be a cycle of the same the same bit. Do you have to be a Twitch partner to stream on both YouTube and Twitch? No. I just the way that we're doing the way that we're doing our stream, like the way I do my stream is like it goes through a system that then live streams to both my YouTube channel and Twitch. And Twitch was something that like my friend Corey was like, hey, we should start streaming to Twitch too. So that's we're just branching out. I also there's a couple Twitch streamers that I follow, like I'm interested in, and so that's made me kind of interested in checking out Twitch. So it's cool. You can kill two birds with one stone, and just OBS just pump into both. Hopefully that makes sense. Just whatever you do, be careful with text to speech. That's all. I'll hang for a bit. Hope I don't distract you too much. Yeah, that can be really tough. Especially, it is funny when you are writing and then you're trying to stream. You can end up, if that's what you mean by text to speech. Okay, so here we go. And it's going to say, send them to the editor. Okay. Then send them to the editor at NBM. Okay, we're getting there. And this is going to be funny, I think. It's like trying to do these kind of boring infographics to show kind of the repetition of a sequence that was being utilized in the first book for kind of somewhat comedic effect. And then this is going to have a hand coming out of here. Will make a little sense in a second. So we're just going to do like an infographic hand. Oh, come on. Infographic hands are very boring, but they're important for this infographic bit. In this case, I'm going to back this off a little bit just so I can make this happen. And what should be cool is if, in theory, this should mean I do this. Okay, that's how. Very simple things here, but I think it'll work. Okay. Don't like this. I think I need to reposition this. It's funny to work out these things in rough stage is so important because then by the time you get to like finals and a lot of this stuff, I will be when I'm working out like the final panel borders and the lettering and stuff, I'll probably work out a lot of these icons in Illustrator. But it doesn't hurt to have like a really tight rough for especially these kind of sequences because you can work through issues like how do I simplify this hand without like investing a crap load of time on like making totally finished art. So that's why it's so important to do these early on. And it just doing roughs like saves you a crap load of time on the final art process. Doing a few small comic strips for streamers may bring you a bit of traffic. Yeah. Thank you. I hope it does. And then you were saying hit up Ethan Van Sciver. I may not hit him up because I think politically I might be on a different side of the spectrum, but I'm cool with whoever. But just saying, he probably wouldn't want me on his channel. Because I'm kind of a lefty. Like, not, I don't get judgy of people who aren't, but I'm definitely like a bleeding heart in that case. Let's see here. So let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, Frank, when you stream, do you only stream to YouTube? Like, because you could totally, Frank, your show you could do to like both Twitch and possible. Okay. He would give a few notes. We are really close to finishing our page. So I try to do these streams like every night when I'm working on these thumbnails, and my goal is to try to do one a day. And then from there, like, hopefully it gets that way. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I definitely like keep my business and my personal. But I do talk pretty openly about what I believe. So which is weird because that, like, so it puts me at odds with a lot of people because I'm a Christian and I'm also left leaning, and like pretty, I'd call myself like a progressive, and so that puts me in a really weird conundrum where it's like I don't tend to subscribe to like an extreme on that extent. So I haven't sprung for the full. Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's, well, I mean, it's been helpful for me. Yeah, dude, have a good one. Make a killing off of working as a human statue. I could try. We'll see how that goes. I think the cool thing is when I start actually doing streams on the final process where I'm like hand lettering and inking, and it's like an overhead shot of that. I think they'll be a lot more cool than just this kind of working on a Wacom. But I appreciate you coming by and checking out my channel, man. He would, let's see. Then okay. Give a few notes. Yeah, feel free to stop by anytime, man. It's fun to have folks come by. It's pretty much like a little art hangout for people, so you're always welcome. All right, so here we go, and we're gonna have here. What do we got? Okay. Give a few notes. I'm trying to think here. Okay, so I think it'll be yep. This is going to be interesting as an infographic. Let's see here. It's the strangest little bit here, but it'll make sense. That's going to be my little catchphrase is don't worry, it'll make sense in a second. All right, so mainly to punch up the sexiness of the female character. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, come on. I think we're getting there. We're almost done with the thumbnails for this. And yeah, pretty excited. Okay. That looks weird. Get rid of that. That's gonna do it. Okay. Okay, and we're almost there. We're almost done with this page, which is kind of cool. And then, oh, I knew I had another word. I don't leave orphaned type. Okay, this is gonna say Sarah. And then this is going to be Okay, and this is going to have the character laying down. You still there, Frank? Hope everything's cool. Hope everything's going well with your comic. This will be the guy kind of sleeping. I should be wrapping up pretty soon, which is cool. So we did it in about an hour and 33, which makes sense because usually these take about 2 hours or so, and those can become kind of hard to navigate. All right, Frank, you're still there. That's cool. So I think part of why this took a little less time was I did get a little head start on Artcasters. So it's technically like pretty much the same amount of time it's been taking. This is going to not say wake up. This is going to say sleep. What's it going to say? Then I would sleep. Then I would sleep. And then this is going to be where I do the little equal sign. I'm just going to do a cheap one. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. All right, so then repeat. And we've made a lot of progress. We've finished thumbnails for this page. I think also this is going to look a little better if I grab all of this and shrink it down just a wee bit. And then let's see, where is that? There we are. Okay. Save. And thank you guys. Thanks, Frank, for hanging out. Thanks, Cypher's Corner, for cruising by. And everyone else who's watched this either live or after the fact. And I will see you guys hopefully probably tomorrow night or later tonight, I should say. So that'll wrap it for my thumbnails for page 99 of book 2 of quarterly stories. Of 2 stories. If you haven't yet, definitely pick up a copy of the first book, 2 stories, on Amazon, or you can actually get it at most places, Comixology, and so on. It's a graphic memoir about faith, mental illness, depravity, and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. And that'll do it for book 2, page 99, Roughs and Thumbnails. Have a good night, everybody. And oh yeah, and if you haven't hit that bell, hit subscribe. And if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit follow. So, all right, I will see you guys probably later tonight.